meat.
Next up on Disney Plus, Star Wars is swinging out here, bringing out new title, Skeleton Crew, a whole first season. We've talked about the show, what you need to know. We have a lot of content around this on our landing page. You can go to mostlysuperheroes.com. Just search Skeleton Crew right there on the homepage, and we have clips and things that we've done previously. Right now, it's just about reacting to that finale. Season 1 has closed. Spoiler alert, you're totally allowed to bring in your spoilers, talk about what you want to, and we kind of did a mid-season check-in. So I said this to you, Scotty, before. I wanted this to be quick. It seemed like a real happy ending to me. Jude Law was the big pirate. He got all his pirates. They found At-Atten. They got back. They cleared the barrier. The kids teamed up with their parents and defeated the pirates by doing all the things they needed to do. Skeleton Crew's over.
It was a good time.
All right, now that's just a very high level thought. Now, like I said to you, Aaron, we're not the deep Star Wars fans. We have a couple of deep Star Wars people that come on the pod. Dan, you're out there listening. We want your take. We want you to call into 754 call log. Give us your reaction to the show. He's not a big advocate for kids in Star Wars, like Disney leaning so heavy into the to kids. He doesn't get it, right? But he's also he's getting married. Like, who knows?
Yeah, he's a big fan of Order 66.
He liked Order 66.
Yeah.
He was a fan of that. But this was a breakout show with Jude Law and these young kids, and it really did recreate for me that special feeling of Star Wars. What's around the corner? Like, what if you just made a world that was kind of like Earth and showed them to new things in the galaxy that maybe even the long-term Star Wars fans haven't really seen corners of the galaxy, like pirates and things of that nature, and doing a little crossover action with the Mandalorian. Like, they had like some characters that you could see from little sprinkles, but overall this stood on its own feet for me. So Aaron, I know that you've talked about this TV show. You were a fan of the show, and I think you mentioned you were on a different podcast talking about this recently. Is that right?
Yeah, like I went on Reckless Rebellion with Thomas Rochester and a bunch of those guys were there, like, and Klein from the Direct and Young Jack, and we talked about Neil's big day out in episode 4, which I really enjoyed, because who doesn't want to talk about the funnest character? He's gonna be the character that he's like the Madison of this, where everybody's just like, where's the Neil series? Where's the Neil
we need the spin-off.
Yeah, I need Neil to get an action figure. I need one for the office.
Carrie said my wife said she couldn't stop looking at that character. She didn't know even what was happening in the scene, but she knew that she was locked in to Neil.
Is this the elephant?
Yes.
Okay.
There's
Just
something about
guess.
a Star Wars Disney Plus series and a cute CG character that just people cannot deal with it.
Well, and I want to direct people. I told BD this when he came on the podcast. Like, we all talk about this stuff so much that I want people to go check out what you said, prior, and go listen to that podcast. But at the same time, I like that we have to say these things kind of over and over to where you got to kind of react to this series today. So we've been making you talk a lot. Let's go to you first, Scotty. Give Aaron a minute. What did you think of Skeleton Crew? And give us your reaction and anything you want to call out about the show.
I mean, this really gave me that childlike sense of wonder, watching this show, just experiencing Star Wars through the eyes of these kids on an adventure. It was a legitimate adventure, and their interactions with new experiences, that they just never know. They're just suburban Star Wars kids. They don't know,
They got buses, they got scooters,
they got cereal, just living their life, and they stumble upon a pirate ship and shoot off into the galaxy on this, Goonies-like adventure. And I thought this was really good. And I don't know that it's doing very well.
Yeah, just in terms of the people watching. And reviews.
The reviews have all been great that I've seen, but it's getting people in post-Acolyte that a lot of people haven't enjoyed.
Yeah,
Star Wars. I enjoyed the Acolyte.
Yeah,
I haven't heard a lot of great positive stuff enjoying that.
Yeah, and my worry going into the show was that it's Skeleton Crew. I don't know what this is. Am I going to need to know something? I think it's the opposite
Nothing.
of that.
You don't need to know
I don't think
anything.
you need to know a single thing. I think this is a stand its own feet. It's like, for the first time, there is a Star Wars title that you don't really need to know. anything in my opinion. But I had fun, and I definitely see a season 2 of it. I felt a little bit like they had all these great things built up with the mystery of Atten and what all these old Republic cities mean, and that it kind of ended on just this note of like I did want more. I wanted to see some more. There was so much mystery in this. I feel like the kids, like also the ship that they found. Like, I forget the pirate's name in the show, but it was essentially like a Blackbeard like figure, like one of the ultimate pirates. They're like, this is that ship, and like kind of creating these legends and stuff. Like, that's fun.
I really enjoyed the droid and the kids interacting with the droid who ran the ship.
Yeah,
I forgot what his name was. 300.
And Jude Law, I did not like when he was yelling at those kids so hard toward the end, and I know that everyone was uncomfortable during that, and I was not comfortable during.
Man, he really brought it.
Well,
in this,
but a little
this
bit.
series.
He's like, sit down and shut up, and I'm like, this is too me. Like,
well, I mean, I think maybe if you had more children in your life, you might feel a connection to that anger.
And I joked about like his friends asking him about like, how's it working on Skeleton Crew, and he's like, well, it's the Star Wars kids show. I'm sure he was like, at the end of this, he probably was telling him to shut up. All right, listen, Aaron, it's your time, man. You've sat with this, you've seen it, you've talked about it. Talk about it again here with us today.
Okay, so I really enjoyed the series. I think that, interestingly enough, like it is Goonies in space, and that's really good bones for a project just out in the open. One of the things that's so interesting about that conceit, though, is that the reason we all love like Goonies and like Homeward Bound, like The Land Before Time, all this like kids media from like the late 80s and early 90s, is that there was home media to prop it up. Like, all of my memories of seeing Tron are from daycare when my mom was late to get me and we watched Tron on repeat, or the times where the people taking care of us were merciful and let us watch Kids WB. So without a way to discover it, you don't get these things. So that's my worry, is that it is this thing where everybody who sees it enjoys it, but there's not the discoverability probably necessary for them to greenlight a season 2 up close. Also, they never did get Jude Law's character. They never got Jod. He just saw the ship go down and started smiling. And like, if there's no body, there's no confirmed death. So he's just out there, terrorizing them, living amongst them, and nobody really knows what he looks like except for the kid's parents. So you could have a season 2. It's another corner of this universe. I would love to explore what the heck a planet that had been insulated from the rest of Star Wars since the freaking Old Republic would do when introduced to like, here's all this other stuff that happened while you guys were closed off. Yeah. Like, the Jedi Order has fallen 2 times. There's been 2 different weird factions of Sith. Like, all this stuff has happened while you guys are over here making weird doubloons. I really hope that they do get to explore this corner again.
I like whenever they were working with the owl alien helper, and she's like, oh yeah, like, and the kids are like, oh, we're kind of by Alderaan, and she's like, huh, did you miss the war? Like, I feel like a lot of that was like tucked in for like all of us. Like, all of us are like, oh, you kids, you don't know anything. And then I am a little lost on like what Atten and all those planets were. They were just like protected Old Republic entities that were like,
that's where they print the money.
They print the money, and it's just like printing money places.
Yeah.
Like, everyone works there.
Fort Knox.
It's Fort Knox.
They don't want you to know where it is.
That's the whole idea. But like, I mean, it's kind of bizarre that they're like, and we'll lie to the whole planet.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, you're not going to tell everybody that Alderaan blew up?
They don't need to know. I mean, this is,
that is
it's Big Brother.
Yeah. And I get depressed by the news. I get it. You don't want to know everything. But
yeah.
And Andy, since you haven't seen it, what do you think about us talking about it so far?
No,
how are we doing?
My question now is I haven't watched this or The Acolyte, or what was the one before that was the Rogue One centric.
Andor.
Andor.
Yeah, season 2,
so
right?
good.
Just tell me what order to watch those in.
You don't have to watch them in any order.
I know.
There is a timeline order, though.
I mean the order of what I would enjoy them. That's what I mean. I know they all stand on their own. So which one should I?
You gotta watch Andor before Rogue One the movie.
Right.
So that's it.
Which ones are your favorites of those 3 is my real question, I guess.
Oh, good question.
Personally, Andor is my favorite because Rogue One is probably my favorite Star Wars movie. But that being said, if you're just looking for straight entertainment, Skeleton Crew is where it's at.
It is just kind of blanket, as a fan, like I liked Ahsoka, more than this because I'm a fan. So
Yeah.
I like the deep cut stuff. I don't mind I kind of look for the connections, and even though I don't always understand the history and stuff, I think it's cool that they try. Skeleton Crew, it was fun. I think for like the middle level fan, like this is your show. Like this could be like, this is going to enter Star Wars for like a lot of young kids.
That's what it's for.
And it will. Like this will be the first thing that like a lot of families put on and might be in after that, which is interesting too, because then you start going back.
That's a cool thought for sure.
It's Young Jedi Adventures and this for any Star Wars fan under the age of 7. They're gonna be like, "What about Whim?" And an older person's gonna be like, "What are you talking about?" Oh, kid from Skeleton Crew, of course.
Oh. I couldn't help but think about the Stranger Things cast and like look at this really talented cast, and I'm like, how could you fall in love with all of them for like different reasons? And you see, like, man, this would be fun to see this cast grow, and I'm sure they feel this inside of Disney and Star Wars, and like it's like, can we? Could we do? I think absolutely. Just write a great adventure, tell a good story. We'll be back.
Yeah.
All right.
The kid's gonna be roaming around Galaxy's Edge by the end of this summer.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah.
All right. Final thoughts. Skeleton Crew. Scotty Scoop. Anything before we leave it?
It's 3.7
out of 4.0. Very nice.
Super fun.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3.7 out of 4 as well. Aaron, how you feeling with it? Now that it's sat for a minute. It's sat for a minute.
Yeah, I think I gave it like a 3.8 or something equivalent on our show. Like it's the first thing in Phase Hero history that we all had the same score for, where all of us gave it like 8.5, like everybody across the board. And I'm like, that does not happen. This thing must have been good. I don't know if anybody's watching it or not, but it must have been all right. None of us like pooped in the punch bowl. Like never happens. One of us always screws it up. Usually me.
And you look at show, like they don't nail everything. Like I think Obi-Wan Kenobi could have been a lot sharper. I think that, like Ahsoka, they leaned really heavy into the old stuff, like maybe lost some middle range fans. The Acolyte, it's deep and it's like
it was up and down, but man, there was some really good lightsaber action.
I'm almost
there.
back to like maybe a rewatch, like, and that was weekly. Like I needed like a weekend binge on that show.
I think a lot of these shows are made to binge, and just when they release them weekly, it's just not working well.
It's not, and I've said this a lot about the weekly drops, where I'm like, it's no question, like you do it to keep people talking about it. Whenever you were watching Game of Thrones on Sunday night, and it's Sunday night TV, like you're there for it, but you got to make the story really great. And the binge, like if you release all episodes on a Thursday or Friday, like you're probably going to get some good numbers. Like people will watch that on the weekends.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a different place now, in streaming than it was even 10 years ago.
We're going to be on the news this Thursday, local Fox 2, 9 a.m. We'll be talking about MCU Trivia Bingo, a great event we have planned at Four Hands Brewing Company that Thursday night, this January 23rd. If you're listening to this, it's right around the corner. We got prizes from everybody. We can't wait. Four Hands, Alamo Draft House, the Gramophone, Planet Score Records, the Royale, Voltron. So many prizes, and not bad prizes, amazing prizes. And we want a lot of people to walk out with stuff. I feel like that's my most frustrating thing when I go to these things is like there's 3 prizes, nobody gets anything. You're probably going to walk out with something, and if you're really upset, just come talk to me and I'll give you something. Like we have something. MCU Trivia Bingo, Thursday, January 23rd, 6 to 9. We'll see you at Four Hands Tasting Room downtown, free to play, walk-ins welcome, as we count down to Captain America Brave New World in theaters. February 21st is when we're seeing it. It's in theaters February 14th. We'll be seeing it early. You should go see it early, but then come see it with us Friday, February 21st, 6 p.m. for our screen and social at the Alamo Draft House. For the price of your movie ticket, you're going to, once again, have amazing prizes, probably take something home, a little informal drawing at the end of the movie where you just might get a little something cool for Mostly Superheroes. All you got to do is show up that night. That's all you got to do. Go see a movie February 21st. Mostly Superheroes is proud to be funded in part by our sponsors. Mostly Superheroes is funded in part by paying patrons who receive early, ad-free, and exclusive episodes. Subscribe at mostlysuperheroes.com/support. Thank you for supporting your favorite independent podcast. Mostly Superheroes is an independent podcast owned and operated by Carrogan Ventures in St. Louis, Missouri. Hosted by Logan Janis, Andy Hunn, and Scott Swearingen. Brand and creative by Carrie Clark Design. Music by Audionautics. Learn more at audionautics.com. Find more at mostlysuperheroes.com.